Friday. Happy New Year to the viewing audience. This is a two-part live pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. I'm going to discuss the searches that were done by the rescue squad. You will hear two audios pertaining to this case. One will be from 2 years ago when she first went missing. It will be at the 2-week mark. WVLT News is the source. The second source will be 5 months after she went missing, and it will be pertaining to the searches. Second part of this live, we will dissect the situation out in Idaho that happened a year ago with the 4 slain students. The 2 roommates who are deemed survivors, you're entitled to your opinion, but the 2 remaining roommates allegedly called someone before calling 911, to my understanding, and from that press conference given by the chief. He will not tell you who made that phone call to 911, but the initial call was that someone had passed out. So that would lead one to believe that a person that did not live in the house is the first person to make a phone call to 911 dispatch initially about a person passing out. And then it's from that phone call that I guess police, paramedics, whomever showed up to the house, and that's when the revelation came to light of the people passed away, murdered inside of a home. So the question I posed to the chat and the viewing audience: who made the phone call? Where was it made? Inside of the house or outside of the house? And why was this person particularly called? How many other people were called before a 911 call would or should have been made pertaining to what was found in the house? Because I'm confused and it doesn't make any sense to me. And we're going to dissect that. We will interchange the conversation throughout the live of both topics. Drop your comments below. Please check all updates on my community page and take the polls on my page pertaining to Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who just was released from prison for orchestrating the murder of her mother years ago. Her co-conspirator is still in prison with a life term, no possibility of parole. WVLT News is the source pertaining to Summer Wells. If you'd like to donate to this network, $sign Candace, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during my live streams. Let's get down to business, everybody. A little bit of difficulties. Hold on. Always something.
Good afternoon, everyone. Amanda Herring here in the WVLT newsroom. Today now marks 2 weeks since Summer Wells went missing in Hawkins County. An Amber Alert remains in effect for the 5-year-old girl as crews continue searching in remote areas of Hawkins County, although they have scaled back that search considerably. Probably one of the biggest pieces to this story that we're following today is Summer Wells' mother speaking to the media for the very first time. To our CBS affiliate WJHL, we want to play some of the comments from Candace for you now.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said She went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight.
Oh, the TBI stressing this afternoon within the last few minutes here that they are looking for tips, but they want those tips to be credible. So not rumor, not speculation on social media, but credible tips. Have you seen Summer? Do you know where she is? Those are the tips they're looking for. So far, they've had about 650 tips, none of them leading to the little girl. They say non-credible tips bog down their search efforts and slow down their efforts to find the little girl. We are learning more from Candace Bly, Summer Wells' mother, of course, about the day that she disappeared 2 weeks ago now. Mom basically saying we were all together in the yard. Summer wanted to go inside. Her brothers were watching her. They say she went downstairs to play in her playroom. A couple minutes later, Candace says, I called for her. She didn't answer. I thought that was strange. Went to look for her, and she was simply gone. Candace says she believes someone lured the child off the family property and abducted the child. This is the same storyline that we're hearing from Summer Wells' father. We're also learning a little bit more about why Summer had that haircut, her hair noticeably shorter in one of the more recent photos. This photo noticeably shorter here than it was in some of the other pictures. Candace said that she wanted her hair cut. That's the haircut she wanted, and maybe got a little bit shorter than anticipated. So Mom says to make her feel more comfortable, I cut my hair that short as well. Brothers cut their hair that short as well. And so they were all just doing it to kind of make her feel a little bit more comfortable with the situation. I think it is important to point out, and it is interesting that when Candace speaks about her daughter, she speaks about her in the past tense. Both Mom and Dad believe that this little girl was abducted, lured away by a stranger. When they mention the maroon pickup truck that authorities are looking for, they say, we don't know that truck. We don't know who owns that truck. They've never seen it before, but they say, look, this person is not being considered a suspect in the case. They may know something. Please come forward if you drive this particular truck. It's a 2000-ish Toyota Tacoma that the TBI is looking for to speak to the driver. They believe that person may have been in the area at the time of the disappearance and may have seen something or heard something that could be helpful. Or again, I'm going to let you listen to Candace Bly, the mother of Summer Wells, speaking for the very first time with the news media about her daughter's disappearance.
Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma. And she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay. And I walked her all the way over to the porch. And I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back. And I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs.
You all was checking something. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's the VLT news. Pause. Let's talk about what was said. Did you catch the lie told during this WVLT news segment? If you need to go back, check my community board to replay the video, because the lie is there. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Who can catch the lie that was told during this live stream? This WVLT news segment. This was uploaded 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, because this was 2 weeks after Summer went missing. And I want to see who in the chat can repeat the lie that was told in this video. I'll wait. Hello, Coleslaw Hippie, Miss Jet, Shelton, Sammy, Miss Lawson. Oh, thank you. Changed it around. Those chairs were on the other side of the room, and I moved them over there because I didn't want the sofa near the window with cool air. It really doesn't matter because it's near this second door and air comes through there too, so it doesn't really matter. But thank you very much. Who can repeat to me the lie mentioned during this live audio by Candace Bly? Someone says planting flowers. No, it's not that. It's not the planting of the flowers. What was said by Candace Bly that is a different version that she gave to someone else pertaining to Summer? No, not that. Not that you walked inside. Think again. Something Candace said about the child that is a different version that she gave to another entity pertaining to the child. Yes, Sue Lawson. The hair. In this clip by Channel 8 News, you hear that she tells the news people at this entity here, that Summer's hair, she wanted it that short, maybe not that short. And that's her covering up because she realizes people are wondering why the child's hair was so short, especially if they've seen pictures of her with different hairstyles and different hair lengths. So she's got to sugarcoat it. Summer, see, I'm about to call her Summer. Candace, that's not the version you gave to another entity about the hair. You told somebody else that the hair was messed up. That Summer had cut her hair, been rambling around with scissors or clippers, don't know which one. She messed her hair up. So you went on and cut it all the way off. So why am I hearing over here at WVLT News, that's how Summer wanted it, but didn't mean to cut it that low? Exactly. Somebody says 3 or 4 stories about her hair. Feel free to go back to hear this commentary. It's called Searching for Summer Wells. It's in the YouTube queue, and it's also on my community page if you need to go back to rehear what this lady had to say about the hair. I don't remember this version because you know why? I can't keep up with everything that's been said by these two. Second of all, I don't watch content of them on other channels or their own channel. So as I've told people in the chat, anything you bring to the queen, I always want a receipt. And if it's Don or Candace speaking, that's not a receipt to me. Because in the beginning, these are the two that spun the web. So anything thereafter has no validity with me. Because you don't even know what to believe. So I'm going to mention all this one more time, because really I get tired of going on and on about the same stuff. I don't know anything about SA. I don't know anything about the haircut. I don't know anything about the clothes. I don't know anything about anything because I wasn't there, and I don't believe these two. And that's just how I feel about this case. But here you have it on a live feed. Summer wanted her hair that way. Oh, wasn't anticipating for it to be that low. Well, see, that makes no sense what you're saying, because what were you implying in this commentary? That she cut it that low, or you cut it, Candace? So Candace, let's start from the beginning about the hair. Who cut the damn baby's hair to where one side was hanging long and the other side had no hair? Did you do that or she did that? And I refuse to believe that a 5-year-old knew how to use clippers. She would have had gashes all in her head because she wouldn't have known to put a guard on the clippers. She would have just used the clippers bare to shave her hair. And she could have easily shaved her eyebrows off, her eyelashes off. So I'm going to ask you, Candace Blythe, who originally cut the little girl's hair? You or her or somebody else? Because now I have heard now 2 different versions about the hair. She messed it up, so we finished it off. I finished it off. Now in this commentary by WVLT News, you're saying she wanted her hair like that. I ended up cutting mine too to make her feel better, basically. And then the boys, drum roll, the boys also cut their hair low. But if I jog my memory back, come on with it, Angela, they ain't ready. They ain't ready. When I think of Don and the little boy in that TV interview, I'm assuming that's the older boy, he had a nice chunk of hair on his head. Let me say it again. When you go back to 2.5 years ago, and Don Wells is standing in front of the camera with his hand on the shoulder of the older boy, and the boy's looking down, not looking into the camera, I do not remember him having a buzz haircut. So what are you trying to tell me? That boy child had what? Hair longer than that? What was it? Ear length, shoulder length? What are we saying here? Exactly, they had hair. So you now have lied on the boy children. Because see, this is what happens when you don't think people are going to pay attention to the details. This is why it's good to go back for those that are smart alecky and want to know why are we still discussing Summer Wells. No, as I tell people, I can't discuss her every day, but I'm bringing homage to her because her birthday's coming up and I want to do due diligence to go back in time because hindsight is 20/20. Because there's lots of things I can listen to right now and I won't hear it, but you might hear it. So I have to replay things just so I can understand what a person is saying. And this is one of those times. You have now lied and said the little girl wanted her hair like that. You cut your hair down to accommodate her, to make her feel comfortable. And then you also said the boys cut their hair down low. But when Don went live with the little boy in the news, that boy had a nice bit of hair. Pretty hair, matter of fact. It wasn't buzzed and it wasn't cut down low. And you had to soothe this over by saying, oh, well, I didn't mean for it to get that low. You mean you didn't mean to cut it that low, but you are the orchestrator of the haircut. Is that what you're saying, Candace? Because see, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with the haircut version. I can't keep up with the CPS assumptions by everybody because allegedly this is what you told people on live streams about CPS coming. I can't keep up if you took a run, if you took a walk. You don't like to walk because of bears, coyotes, and snakes. I can't keep up with the fact you all don't have Wi-Fi and phone pings that work back there. But yet when you two get in a fight, the police shows up some type of way. I just can't keep up. But you see, that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping that you have some gullible guppies that can't keep up with your versions. And the reason why people change their versions, such as yourself, is because you're lying about what the fuck happened to Summer Wells. Checkmate. So see, the more I go back into time, I realize I'm not wrong. And I can correct it if they find the girl alive or deceased, 80, 20 miles away to where I could think you didn't have time to get rid of her. I could say, yeah, maybe somebody else did that to Summer Wells. But for now, 2.5 years in, I believe you, your husband, possibly your mama too, are complicit into getting rid of her for whatever reason and discarding her. It's something amiss with you all. And this interview confirms that once again. So let's go over what was said by Channel 8 News. Thank you all for joining me. You and Don believe she was abducted. You have this nice lady even saying, because you know they're not supposed to give their personal opinion during a live stream of news. But every blue moon, reporters will say something, give their opinion. She said you spoke of the child in past tense. So now we have a news person saying it, not rumor, not gossip, her version, her opinion, because you did do that. And the sick part of the story is that you're speaking of her in past tense 2 weeks into her disappearance. That's not a long time for a person to go missing, to be speaking of them in past tense regularly to the news. But we know that people do this because the child is officially gone. Come on with it, Queen. The child is officially gone. Not sold, not bartered, not hiding out to get reward money. Officially, such as in DEAD. Not coming back, unalived. That's when we speak of people in past tense. We know they're not coming back. She used to like this. She used to like this. He used to like that. They mentioned that the search was scaled back. Why? 2 weeks of searching for the child, you all scaled back for what reason? Is it because of the investigation itself, information that the rescue squad got from law enforcement? It was too exhausting. It was too tiresome. Why was it scaled back? Where were the searches exactly in proximity to 110 Ben Hill Road? 650 tips at this time, which was about 2 weeks in, but it was all dead leads, assumptions, conspiracy theories, nothing credible, which is disturbing because it's damning when you think back. Damn, just 2 weeks in, people were just calling in, making up stuff, which was wrong, still is wrong. And it's the reason why we have all these numerous videos in the YouTube and the Google search pertaining to Summer Wells. Just random people making videos, commenting, and they don't know what they're talking about. And you hear law enforcement, TBI, said this was interfering with the investigation. All these random tips that were just assumptions. And they can't run on assumptions. They need credible information. You also hear the red truck mentioned, and that the parents was hoping that the person would come forward if they knew something, but they didn't believe that the person was a suspect, but just maybe somebody that saw something. So we go back to that again. Who saw the red truck? Where was the red truck? Was somebody sitting in the red truck, standing outside of the red truck? Did they get the make and model correct? Because as somebody said recently, who's to say that you didn't get the make and model wrong? That's very true. Because it's easy to do. You thought you saw a Tacoma truck, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a Ford. Maybe it was a Nissan. I don't know. Or maybe it was a truck that was passing through. Somebody was just sitting in it, talking on their phone, trying to get directions. But it just so happened to be at Ben Hill Road. What's the validity of the truck? Or do these two know about the red truck, but they're not telling the truth? That, yeah, we know all about a red truck. We know somebody that has a red truck, and they were visiting us. They were coming by to do this and this and that, and maybe it's also pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. I don't know. But right now, there are no viable leads. Few tips have come in, and the red truck is not rendered by Mr. Ronnie Lawson valuable information to this investigation from his mouth. You see, people change their version when they know the version they originally gave doesn't pan out. So this is where you have all these different versions about being outside, shoes on, shoes off. But first you tell us she was inside. You got different versions about why her hair was cut short. You took a walk, didn't take a walk. Took a run, didn't take a run. This is all coming from you, Candace. How about that? All these versions are coming from you. Not Pookie, not Ray Ray, not Bubba, not the neighbors. Candace Bly. So I'm going to ask you. I know I'll never get the truth, but that's okay. Honey, how many versions did you give law enforcement and the dispatch on June 15th and up until the last time you spoke with one of those agencies? I'm curious. Because I got a feeling you've probably given about 5 different versions of what happened June 15th. I'm going to go with 5. That's what I think I'm going to do. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. I think I'm going to go with 5 versions. They check data, phones, devices, area searches, ground searches, waterways, no summer wells. And naturally, when you look at the area views, Tennessee was in full bloom June 15th, 2021. So even if you're looking from a helicopter, a drone, airplane, you are not going to see a child lying out in the field because naturally only a fool would just throw her out where she could be seen. You would have her in the brush, in a hole, in a tunnel, in a cave, hidden under branches, if you see what I'm saying, not wide open. If I don't want the child, I don't want her found, I ain't getting ready to just throw her out where anybody just drive up or get a drone and look down and say, oh, I see something lying down there. Let's go zoom in. Let's check it. Radio it in. No. The places that were searched, where were they in proximity to the house? And why were they back there? Because what you have to ask yourself is this. I don't recollect hearing that they searched Jonesboro, outside of Tennessee, Kingsport, and that would be very interesting. So why not? Candace, Don, you have any ideas? Why the rescue squad, to my knowledge, not to say that it didn't happen, but to my knowledge, they didn't search where you work, a route near where you work to your job, Kingsport, North Carolina, Virginia, all the places that are close to Tennessee. Because if they did not search North Carolina, Virginia, Kingsport, Jonesboro, that means they had a clue she was in Beach Creek. And then, drum roll, why would they be searching in Beach Creek? Because it ain't because they had nothing better to do or that they were bored. They had a reason why would they be searching near your house? How many miles out from your house did they search? I'm curious. And then when they would resume months later, from summer of 21 up until winter, they still went Beach Creek. How about that? Why would they still be in Beach Creek, Candace, Don? Months later, when there's no foliage, no leaves on the trees. You have any ideas why they would still be back there in Beach Creek? Is it because something came back on your devices or GPS on a car or vehicle that puts you back there somewhere other than your damn house for these people to be back there searching? Because in the end, it's a lot of land. Whether you're searching the property across the street, 3-4 miles up the street, they were still in the vicinity of your house. So that leads me to believe they had a reason to be searching near your house because something came back on a device or your car has been seen dilly-dallying around in those areas. Now, Candace, Don, did you discard that baby back there in Beach Creek? Because somebody had made a comment about the reward money when they were searching, and they said they drove by you or you drove by something and you all flew back somewhere. I can't word it correctly, but I don't know if they're alluding to the fact that maybe you all thought they found the child or found something, or you all were trying to get the reward money. As I told people, if they thought that, they are really stupid, because Crime Stoppers and organizations that have reward money, they are not going to give it to the immediate family members that report the child missing. That would make no sense, because for all they know, it's a scam. Kill a child or sell a child or whatever, and then say she's missing, and then say, oh yeah, I think I know where she's at, to claim the reward money. I don't think it's going to work like that. And then they also probably be leery for any other family member to say, I think I know where a child is or the child is. Because for all they know, as I just said, it's a scam to get money. But the interesting part of the story is that the child has not been found. And if indeed you got rid of the child to try to collect money, as I just said, you would be very foolish, because Crime Stoppers and any other organization is not going to give you money for you to locate your missing child. It doesn't work like that. I think what the person was trying to say, maybe, or I'm going to say from what they were trying to say, hope this is not too confusing for you all. When the people were initially looking, and they said you flew back quick to the main place where they had the tent set up. I'm not really sure what I'm saying, but I'm going to put it like this. I think you were scared that they did find something, and that's why they saw you hurrying down the damn road, if that's even true. You were scared that they did find the little girl. Let's say you did bury her out there near your house. You went running down the damn street because you wanted to be sure to be there to see what they found. But that seemed like, to me, that would be a very scary situation to be in. To stand there and watch somebody come back and say, yeah, I found something that looks like a small child. How interesting that would be. Let's go to the second video, the audio, pertaining to this girl child. And this would be 5 months later, pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'll try to pull up this other search. Investigators frustrated with lack of information, Summer Wells case. This is uploaded 2 years ago.
Mark 5 months since Summer Wells was last seen. The 5-year-old disappeared from her Hawkins County home in June and hasn't been seen since. But the TBI is not giving up on that search. News Channel 5's Aaron Cantrell joins us this morning with more. And Aaron, we know there have been thousands of tips in this case.
Yeah, Amy, a lot of tips, but not a lot of factual information, a lot of social media rumors, and that's why the TBI and the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, they're going very frustrated about the misinformation and the lack of information coming in on this investigation. And this is what they're working with. They are searching a rural area there in East Tennessee, and with very few businesses, and all available surveillance photos and videos have been collected and reviewed, and neighborhood canvasses were conducted in an effort to make sure they didn't miss any residential cameras. In addition to the exhaustive ground searches, the TBI says dozens of aerial searches have been conducted as well. Dive teams were brought in to explore waterways in the area, and canine teams specializing in a variety of search methods have been utilized. They have also executed numerous search warrants, and any potential digital evidence has been collected, including social media accounts. TBI, they do want to find Summer Wells, and they want factual information. So if you do have any information about the disappearance of 5-year-old Summer Wells, you're asked to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Now, there is a private account, a reward set up for any information leading to the whereabouts of Summer Wells. That's at $60,000. I'll send it back to you all.
So, the end of that. This content was uploaded 5 months after Summer Wells went missing. First content I played you was 2 weeks after Summer Wells went missing. So waterways, from the sky, on foot, nothing. At that time, $60,000 was put into a reward for the child. And as most of you know, with all that meddling from the UK, got the reward fund dismantled from allegations of fraud. As I said then, and I said it to somebody tonight on the phone, if somebody wanted to steal the money that they raised on their channel, they could have easily not turned in any of the damn money. Why turn any of it in? And the rescue squad told you where to send the money anyway. So you didn't have to send it through a YouTuber. The money was sitting at a legitimate bank, and you could have written a check, cashier's check, or moseyed your tail on over there directly and took it to the bank. Shouldn't even been a misunderstanding. But this is what happens when we have people that meddle in stuff. And next thing you know, we've got a court hearing about damn reward money. So no money sits available for this little girl. And nobody probably will ever start another reward fund for her because they don't want any more problems. And that is understandable. Candace, Don, where is your child? Where is your child? You have focused on everything besides finding a baby and getting your 3 boys back, which I find very peculiar. But then I tell myself it's not out of the norm because it goes to character. It goes to cause. I didn't want the little girl, and I don't care about the boys. Checkmate. So for those of you that were trying to drive home who she liked better, she was jealous of her child, jealous of the relationship between she and the husband. I don't think it really mattered if you look at the whole picture, which is none of the children are in their possession. Because it would not take 2.5 years to get your boys back home, guys. So they didn't favor any of their children. This is just a repeat of their lives, past tense. Doing what I want to do as I see fit. I didn't give a fuck then about my other children, and I don't give a fuck now about these kids. And everybody's sitting around bumping their gums and bumping their heads together, trying to figure out What happened to Summer Wells? Where is she? What happened? What happened? What happened? Essay, this and that. So, human trafficking. On and on and on. When the oldest trick in the book, exacted by man and woman from the beginning of time, is that I got rid of you because I didn't want to be fucking bothered. Why can't some of you accept that it's a possibility? Please enlighten me. I've brought you statistics time and time again of filicide in this country and children going missing and murdered and beat up and tortured by their own mother, father, foster parent, adoptive parent, babysitter, relative. Why would it be different here? Please make me understand. Help me understand. You see, sometimes it's not all that extra stuff you think it is. And I'm not here to say what it is. But all I'm saying is, as easy as you can dwell on SA allegations, I can easily dwell on she didn't want the little girl anymore. She was a hindrance. She was in the way. Maybe the mother didn't want to keep toting the little girl around with her. Didn't want to leave her at the house with the boys. You see, sometimes it's just, I don't want to be bothered. She's dead weight. I can leave the boys alone. They could palm around, do what they want. And I don't have to worry about this little girl getting into stuff. I don't have to worry about these kids doing anything to her, picking on her. Maybe she didn't like the little girl. I don't know. Maybe the little girl got too much attention by other people. From the church, the father, outsiders. Maybe the girl had qualities that Candace wished she had. I don't know. But I know she's not here. Exactly. Very well said, Miss Hagan. The youngest, most needy child goes missing. I'm so glad you said that, because let's go down memory lane from Miss Hagan's commentary. Let's go back to the church videos of the child running around the church. Nobody's reprimanding her. Nobody's making Summer sit down. She's jumping all over Robin. Robin's trying to sing, tell stories, blah, blah, blah. And all attention is on Summer Wells in an open church. Stay woke. All the other children are minding the teacher. All the other children are listening to the story. Who is the only child jumping about? Summer Wells. It was heart-wrenching to watch that footage because it was telling me, oh yeah, this is way deeper than all this junk everybody else is spewing out. There's something really wrong here. Why is this child all over the church running about? Why is she jumping all over Robin, wanting to be in Robin's lap? Robin puts down one kid after Summer, and Summer jumps back in her arms, trying to get her attention for her to hold her. Summer didn't even want another child to even be in the presence of this lady. This is bad because Robin is not her mother. Let me say that again. Robin was not her mother. That is the behavior of children. Usually when a mother has multiple kids and a child wants the mother's attention, naturally. Hold me, mommy, hold me. And mommy has to tell you to wait because she's holding another child. And as you've heard from many children who grew up in big families, somebody got lost along the way in the attention department because you can't pay attention to a multitude of children. That's common sense. So somebody's going to get left out. So here you have a girl child running amok in the church, jumping all over the teacher to where the teacher can't teach and she can't sing. She has to hold Summer Wells. And to me, that would be embarrassing as a parent sitting inside of the church, watching my child run around, not making her sit still, and also watching her jump up and down for Miss Robin. I think I'd be kind of humiliated, quite frankly. And I'm sure somebody in the church said something to Robin about that behavior, but did somebody say to the Wells? Probably did not. Because that would be a very difficult conversation to have. How would you start that off? Well, I don't mean any harm, but why is your child running around the church? Why is your child jumping up and down on Robin while she's trying to teach and sing? Why is she jumping on her after she picks up another child? How would a person answer that? You couldn't. You couldn't answer it. So how about this? From that observation of the church videos, one would say that Summer did not get enough attention at her house. So Mr. Donald Wells, for you to sit up on a news broadcast to say your child favored you more, always wanted to be around you, one might say, I don't know if I believe, because she didn't act like that in church. If she was so enamored with you, Mr. Wells, she would have been sitting quietly in the church pew alongside Daddy. Checkmate. You see, children lead by example. So if I teach my children to sit still at home, sit still in a car, sit still in public, they won't have a problem with that. When you are told to mind, you are supposed to mind. And she was old enough to be minding her parents or any adult figure, but she did not. And possibly the child had something wrong with her. I do not know if she had ADHD or some type of autistic borderline, but the point is, Summer didn't mind. So then we have to question everything that we heard about what she would and would not do. As some people had heard from that Jose guy, she had wandered off before. So what is the truth to the child? Her disposition at the time of her disappearance. Did she ever wander off? Wandered off the property? Wandered off on a trail? Wandered off in a store? What is the truth? Because you see, in the end, it's up to you to decide who you want to believe is telling the truth about this little girl and what happened to her June 15th. But it's disturbing to know that a child didn't feel love and needed to be jumping all over another human being to get attention that didn't come from her own parents. Yes, poor Summer. I feel bad for her, wherever she is. That she didn't feel loved here in life, if indeed she's no longer alive. That she had the fortitude to seek out attention elsewhere. And if she was doing all this in church, I won't doubt that she probably cried when it was time to leave church. How about that? Come on, Summer, it's time to go. We got to go. Get in the car. She probably didn't want to go home. So, Candace, Don, let me ask you something. When you took your little girl out to church, other functions, did your little girl cry? She didn't want to go home. Because that is the most terrible thing you can hear from a child. I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. And then start falling out and throwing a tantrum. Did your child do this, Don and Candace? throw tantrums? Could your child speak full English? Could your child hear well? Could your child count? Could your child say all of her ABCs? Because I think the child was lacking in all of those departments. And I don't think she probably had adequate social skills for a 5-year-old. So then we have to also ask those same questions of your boys. What was the aptitude of your boys? Did you all give all of the children equal treatments and attention? Possibly not. And this is when children decide to start acting out because they have been ignored. And now that we have all this social media BS, I won't doubt that you were immersed in your phone, iPad, computer. You probably rarely talked to your daughter and rarely held her, kissed her, hugged her, combed her hair, rubbed her hair. You probably just walked past her. She probably stayed outside a lot playing with her brothers, while you did your own damn thing in your house. I won't doubt that you did get crunk and drunk early in the day, high in the day, because one, you did not hold down a full-time job. You did not go to school. You did not work from home. You were oblivious to your children because that's all you know. That's all you know. So then we have to go dig in Candace's candy bag and say, why is that, Candace? Why is your child oblivious to love and affection to her children? Well, that's because she learned it from you. You were cold, I'm sure, icy as a mother. You're very masculine in nature, and if nobody knew better, they would think you were a man. Because when we learned of her issues with her children coming out of her care, I didn't hear that you took her children in. And why is that, Candace? So this is why I always tell people to pay attention to the details, because the story is telling itself if you're paying attention. You didn't help take care of the children. Her father ended up not helping with the children. You all shuffling around the United States like a bunch of damn gypsies. But in the end, the same mother who wouldn't even take care of her own damn grandkids was on the compound staying in a trailer. Camper. How about that? How about that? In the end, you made your way to your daughter, but yet you didn't help her in her time of need when she needed help with her children. But you see this a lot with dysfunctional families. Everybody meeting up somewhere down the road after the shit has hit the fan, and now we want to play mommy, daddy, grandmommy, granddaddy. But the wounds are still there. The wounds are still there. And then we look at Candace's demeanor. She's masculine as well. She's very similar to you, Candace. And so she has become a replica of Candace. Devoid of emotion, affection, attention, masculine in nature, cold, icy, and without children. Checkmate. I think I cleared it up quite nicely. Four children gone. and I would say deliberately, Mr. Donald Wells, since you so kindly like telling the news that your 3 boys were kidnapped by the state. Oh, no, sir. Nobody kidnapped them. You gladly gave them up. So you need to check yourself. Because it's your disposition, you and Candace both, is what got you in this mess of all 4 children gone. So how dare you say the state kidnapped your children? You feel like they kidnapped them. Well, brother, they didn't kidnap them. Because I'm assuming that they gave you a chance to get the boys back and you chose not to. So either way, it's still on you and Candace. Because had you been living right up there on that fucking hill, we wouldn't be talking about none of you. And you're going to have to stand account, you and Miss Bly, for how you treated your children in life. You owe them more than what you gave them. So running to the news with all this goofy ass talk and acting like you cared about your kids and the girl favored you and, oh, they stole my kids and, oh, I love my children. You didn't give a damn about your kids, because had you gave a damn about your kids, you have all of your kids. It's a choice. The search for Summer Wells. Why did the searchers search back there in Beach Creek? Did they get information from law enforcement that pings or some type of device hit in the area of the searches? Is our baby girl buried discarded remnants in Beach Creek community? Was she deliberately murdered by her parent or parents and discarded in Beach Creek? What was the motive if indeed she was murdered? Because whenever you have searches in an area, there's a reason. And that would lead me to believe there was no selling of a body, no bartering of a body, possibly deliberately killed by Candace Bly and discarded back there, but just never recovered. I've asked myself recently, pertaining to law enforcement, what do you have on Candace and Donald Wells? And why not serve a warrant for the 2 on what you have, if indeed it is incriminating information pertaining to Summer Wells? If you have something against the 2, could you just not go out on a limb and roll the dice? Because watching this WVLT video tonight proves to me they did something to that baby girl. Because you can't keep making up versions about hair and what she had on and inside, outside, took a run, took a walk. Don't you see what's going on? These are phishing attempts to cover up what I originally told law enforcement about the girl. This ain't working out, so I got to make up something else. Okay, that's not working out. I got to go make up something else. Okay, that ain't working out. I got to go now make up something else. Don't you all see where this is going? Whatever she told them, it didn't pan out. That's why you've got all these fucking versions of inside, outside, shoes on, shoes off. They told these people these things. They didn't make this stuff up. WJHL didn't know them. Channel 8, Channel 6 News didn't know them. Channel 10 News didn't know them. The dispatcher didn't know Candace Bly. That's the point of the story. Candace has been making up all this shit as she went along. That's why she was so worried about what H told TBI, running over there, asking him questions. And what did she tell Principal Dunn? This is why I keep telling you to pay attention. He asked her, did Boy H lie about June 15th? She said, it ain't that he lied. He got the order wrong. Checkmate. Say it again, Quinn. Boy H didn't lie. He just got the order wrong. How about that? The order of the places. So it ain't that we didn't go to these places. It's just that Boy H got them switched around. And as someone in the chat so kindly said, the neediest child is the one that goes missing. Very interesting. So now let's tie that into the neediest child goes missing, and then the child that was gone all day with the mother also goes missing. What are the odds? Let me say it again. The neediest Wells child goes missing, and also the same child who was with the mother all day, who didn't go missing in Kingsport, didn't go missing in Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee, but only to go missing allegedly when she returned back to a house where other children were left unattended for hours. What are the odds? And I'm supposed to sit up here and debate that the mother didn't hurt her delivery. Think about what you're saying now. You come up with 1,000 reasons how Summer Wells got gone, but you refuse to focus on the child who was gone all day under the mother's care, just so happened to go missing under her care again back at the house. Different versions of what she had on, where she was, different stories told to different news entities, different versions told to YouTubers, but she didn't hurt her child. I want you to think about that for just a second. You leave 3 boys unattended to be kidnapped, but the one child who was gone all day comes back and she mysteriously gets kidnapped. Say it again, boy. 3 children are on the compound. Nobody touches them, removes them, allegedly. But the one who was gone all day with Candace is kidnapped, once returned home. You see, you have no information to verify that Summer Wells ever made it back to 110 Ben Hill Road. You have no idea if the mother took her somewhere, suffocated her, and dumped her body, beat her up. You have no idea. She's not going to tell you. See, June 15th to me was a ruse. Boy H was used, he was bait to verify that the child was walking and talking. But see, that doesn't mean anything because she alleged she returned back to 110 Ben Hill Circle Way. So you have no proof of what the fuck happened after Boy H. Part 2. Idaho 4. I would like all of us to role play for just a second. Imagine you have gotten up inside of a 3-story house and you sense that something is amiss in the house. And you either see blood coming out into the open way, open rooms, living room, or kitchen, footprints in blood, blood spatter, whichsoever. And instead of you calling 911, you decide to call a classmate or friend. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you stay in the house if indeed the phone call came from inside of the house? Why would you stand outside of the house? Why are you calling somebody else and you just found somebody dead in your house? Or you found something that looks like somebody was hurt inside of the house? Which is it? That's the one thing the chief refused to tell us about the Idaho 4 case. Who made the phone call to 911? Because he explains it during the press conference that the original call to the dispatch is about a person falling out, and it was not one of those girls. Or if it was, he won't tell us. As to preserve the investigation, I guess. So I'm going to say this to the two roommates. We have learned that people behave differently in a time of crisis. But there is no way in hell I'm speaking for Angela, am going to wake up in a 3-story house and see blood or a body and remain in the house, number one. Number two, I'm not getting ready to call every Tom, Dick, and Harry about what I just saw. Number three, I am not getting ready to make a phone call to Tom, Dick, and Harry inside of the damn house. I am not getting ready to make phone calls outside of the damn house. Number five, I am getting ready to be way, way far from the house to dial 911. So I'm going to ask you two females, why in the world would you call a random person if you discovered somebody dead or blood in the house? Did you ever get up in the middle of the night that morning to find your friends dead but refuse to dial 911? What was your reasoning for not dialing 911, Dylan, when you kept opening and closing that damn door? Is it because you all had the police there before and you all had trouble with the law for noise complaints and you didn't want to get the police involved? Other roommate, were you up and awake when this man was rumbling through the house killing your friends? I'm curious. Dylan, what did you actually tell law enforcement about that morning? What are the odds of a killer walking by you in a doorway and he did nothing to you? Why are you two alive? I'm curious. Because when you look at that picture, that famous picture, and this is not to be rude to them, but Korberger had to have known everybody that stayed in the house. Come on now. Because he's been watching the social media accounts. So he knows who lived there. He knows who drove which car. Checkmate. So he knows at least a few of you drove and did not care about making his way into the house. Because he's watched the house. And that picture you all took that same day proves how many people lived in the house. Did that picture anger Brian C. Korberger? I watched something yesterday pertaining to Brian. So we're going to go back down memory lane as well with this case. I want to take you all on a little field trip. I want you all to go back to his first arraignment, in court. And I want you to look at that video footage of him sitting beside his male lawyer, because this freaked me out yesterday when I watched it. Brian Korberger is looking at the camera and he smirks. Yeah, I said that. He smirks at the camera, and also his attorney is smiling. So I would like to know, what in the fuck were you all smirking and smiling at? Because I believe this might have been in Pennsylvania before he got back to Moscow. Help me understand, Mr. Korberger, what were you smirking at? Were you telling us, yeah, I did it. I'm that guy. You got the right guy. And I'm getting ready to take you all on a run. Kind of like Candace. I'm going to give you all a run for your money with this case. I'm going to hold out. Stay woke. The smirking in that video footage is scary as hell. The fact that when he finally got to Moscow, goes to court, imagine his surprise to have a female attorney. Come on with it, Queen. You know damn well Brian Korberger was pissed off when he saw that he had a damn blonde-haired white woman represent him. Then comes a dark-haired girl represent him. So he is sitting here between a dark-haired woman and a blonde-haired woman. And you know he was pissed off. But Miss Annie was the best in the state to represent a death penalty case. And she's gotten a lot of money to represent Brian C. Korberger. Let me make sure I mention that. And I didn't know these attorneys made that kind of money because of a death penalty case. But now I do. Brian Korberger, what was you saying to yourself when you saw Annie? Oh, hell no. I just butchered 2 blondes, and they gonna send me a blonde-haired woman to represent me? You know he wanted to turn that damn table up. Because all you have to do is look at his jaws. They're clenching often in his court appearances. He's angry as fuck. Oh, hell no. I know damn well they ain't sent this blonde-haired woman up in here. Oh, you gonna send another one? Uh-huh. See, karma's a bitch. Excuse my language. Karma is a bitch. Oh, yeah. Hey, Mr. Korberger. You killed them kids. You killed them girls. Uh-oh, we got a surprise for you. We're going to give you a woman attorney. She's the best in the state. How in the world, Annie, can you sit beside that man? Now, I understand that's your job. You are a defense attorney. But come on now. No way you're going to tell me in your deep spirit, your mind, that you think he's innocent. Now, you may be putting on for the news and the media, but you ain't going to tell me that in your quiet time, you believe he's innocent. You know damn well he did it, and I bet you get scared every time you sit beside him, every time you go to that jail needing to talk to Brian Korberger, praying he don't try to do nothing to you like what he did to them damn girls and that guy. And I would have been afraid to sit beside Brian Korberger. Because this isn't your average murderer. This man slaughtered 4 kids. And he didn't blink. And I won't doubt that the posting of that picture set him off. I'm trying to talk to her, whichever one it was. She won't even respond. She won't even message me back. She won't even look at me, choose me. I'll fix that. Then poof, here comes a post. Oh, look at them standing around all happy, enjoying themselves. What about me? Where's my happiness? Where's my joy? Why doesn't anybody like me? Why aren't people taking pictures with me? Why won't somebody love me? Why won't somebody date me? Well, Kohlberger, you never gave anybody a chance to. That's why. You don't know how to talk. You don't know how to socialize. You're arrogant. You're a narcissist. You got to override the conversation. You got to be right. Those friendships ain't going to last long, bro. And as far as dating somebody, you would just be getting a gullible guppy, another lonely creature, and she would tire your ass too. You see, I won't doubt that Kohlberger was jealous of all the girls. I won't doubt that he was also jealous of Ethan. Because think about it, Ethan is in the midst of the women in the photograph. Now imagine somebody who's been stalking the pages of these young ladies, and he finally sees this one last photograph of the ladies with Ethan Chapin. I want you to just think about that for just a second. You mean to tell me you don't think that photograph didn't anger him? And I'm not saying he couldn't have planned these murders 2 days in advance, a day in advance, 5 days, I don't know. But I can bet you, when he saw that photograph, that was it. That was it for him. Because in that photograph, he sees what he has been longing for. Camaraderie, attention, affection, people having fun, people enjoying life. And you have a man in the picture, and Ethan is where he wants to be, where he wanted to be. He wanted to be liked. He wanted to be loved. And here these girls are right there with Ethan Chapin. Hell no, I don't like this. Hell yeah, I'm mad at all of them. They're in the damn way. So now we fast forward into trying to understand if indeed he was mad at one or two or all. How do we have two remaining roommates? Because one would say, well, Angela, what you're saying is contradictory. He's so angry. Why did he kill the other two? Good question. So I have to answer Angela's question. Okay? I don't know. And I'm not here to say that these girls are involved, that they knew Kohlberger. But then we have to go back to something Kohlberger allegedly said when getting arrested. Did you arrest somebody else? Kohlberger, who are you speaking of? Or were you just trying to play mind games with the agents? Because one, Kohlberger wouldn't know that he was getting arrested. If they were doing their job thoroughly out there in Pennsylvania, he had no idea that he was being watched. Or did he? Did he sense that he was being watched? That's why he was touching everything with gloves, using gloves. I believe he had on gloves when he got arrested. Up in the middle of the night, doing stuff, emptying trash, using other neighbors' trash bins. Very slick. Very slick and cautious. Did you arrest anybody else? That's a deep question to ask. So do these roommates know Brian Korbacher? Or as I said, he was just fishing, playing around with the agents. Back to Moscow. You have just encountered a traumatic scene in a house. Because as I said, I don't know what those kids saw or didn't see. Don't know what they wrote in their original report to police. But I'm trying to understand your mindset of calling a friend. So I'm going to ask the two roommates, how many people did you call before calling 911? And why would you do that? And where did the calls come from? Inside of the house or outside of the house? Why didn't you two take off fucking running down the damn street? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm not getting ready to stay in this house and call no fucking friends. I'm not getting ready to call 911 from inside of the house. I'm not getting ready to stand at the front door and call 911. I'm not getting ready to call 911 in the fucking driveway. Big girl is getting ready to be all the way down by the stop sign calling 911. Let me say it again. I'm going to be at the stop sign calling 911, and I'm going to tell the dispatcher what I saw and where I'm standing, and if the law is pulling up, this is where he or she will meet me. But I ain't going back to that damn house. Checkmate. There's no way in hell I'm getting ready to call Pookie, Ray Ray, Bubba to tell them what I saw. And that's where we all got confused, and that's how the rumors started. Because nobody can understand why somebody's calling talking about somebody passed out. So the first thing I thought is, I'm confused. What are they saying? They saw one of the roommates passed out? I think you would see blood, wouldn't you? Considering he butchered the kids. Excuse my expression. So that goes to show you call somebody else. And that person called to talk about the fuck one of you fell out. And then officers come or medics come. And then I guess somewhere in the shuffling of these people being on the property alongside everybody, because I don't even know how many people were actually there, who said what to the medics or the police? Oh, you need to go check inside. So did you girls ever explain to whoever did the initial phone call that there were dead people inside of the house? Please help me understand, because I am so utterly confused. And I'm telling you, I hope you got your stories straight, because it ain't gonna be nice when you go into court. Because the defense is gonna shred you to pieces. Why are you calling your friend and you just seen one of your friends dead? Or you saw a blood trail? What did you see exactly? How long did it take you to call your friend? Why did you call that friend? Did you try to render first aid? Uh-oh. Shut up, Queen. Did you touch anything? Did you move anything? Did you walk around the house? Did you go room to room? Oh, suck it now. That's why Mr. Gonsalves has made the commentary as of late why he didn't want the house tore down. I want to know what the girls heard that night. Very interesting. Well, see, Mr. Gonsalves, you have been rallying so tough for Kaylee. Maybe that's what you should have asked the girls. So I want to ask Mr. Gonsalves, did you ever ask those girls what they heard that night? What was your actual conversation with the two? Because I got a feeling you haven't talked to them since the murders. I don't think you had a thorough conversation with them after the murders. And one is going to wonder if this is true. Why has nobody talked to these parents about what they saw and what they heard. Because what would be the problem in telling the parents what you saw and what you heard? These are your friends' parents. You should be breaking your neck to say, yes, I saw this, I heard this, and I went here, and I went over here, and I shut the door, and I came back out, and I shut the door, and I came back out. So Dylan and your other little side piece, did you truthfully tell the Gonzaleses and the other family members what you saw and heard? And if you have not talked to them about that night, why not? And what did you tell law enforcement? Were you all fully awake during the murders? Number one. What are the odds of somebody opening and closing a door on the second floor while a murder is being committed on the third floor, and the killer walks by the second floor door to go around the corner to the left to enter Xana's room and kill her and her boyfriend, and yet this girl is opening and closing the door 3 times, and Kohlberger has to pass her each time. He had to pass her when he came in the house, whether it was the first floor or the back kitchen door. He had to go upstairs to kill 2 girls. He had to come back down the stairs and pass that hallway, which is the second floor door, to go around to Xana's room, which is on the second floor around the corner. He then had to finish off to come back through the living room, past Dylan in the doorway where she said she saw him, and he walked by her out the kitchen door. Are you hearing this? So he's passed you 4 times your door, but yet you're alive. And your other friend on the first floor, she's alive. But yet if he was stalking whomever, he had to have known all of you lived in the house and possibly all the rooms were occupied. He possibly got a layout of the room from Google search. I refuse to believe he didn't do his homework because he was very stern and meticulous from what friends and associates have said about him. How are you 2 alive? Please make me understand. Did he go to the bottom floor and check one of the doors to try to enter in the room of one of the surviving roommates? Number 1. Which entry did he use in coming to the house? The first floor door or the back patio door through the kitchen? Why did he try to unalive the 2 roommates? Because why would he walk past a whole warm body and say nothing and do nothing? And now we have to ask the ultimate question, Miss Dillon. What did you do after seeing him walk by you into the kitchen and exit out of the kitchen sliding door? What did you do? Did you go look around the house and found the dead bodies? Did you find the bodies and go back into your room? Did you just shut the door and call the girl downstairs? Did you call the other girls in the house but got no answer? Did you get up and go downstairs to that girl's room and went and slept in her room? Or she came up to your room and slept? What time did you actually discover your friend's remains? Those are my questions. I think anybody would have passed all the way out. You see, there's something wrong here. Because his phone pings at this house. They have CCTV footage of his car being there in the vicinity. He returned to that house that morning, hours later, after 9 a.m. So nobody who's doing all this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I do believe he was in Moscow for at least an hour before he even made entry into the house. He was there after 3-something because he left his house at like 2:44, 2:45. It only takes 15 minutes to get from where he lived, Pullman, over to Moscow. So what did he do for at least an hour before entering their house? They believe he only took a few minutes to kill the kids and then exit out of the house. I believe he was trying to build up the nerve before going in the house. I don't think the girls drove because we learned that they took a ride share or something back to the house. So he was watching and lurking and looking. And what would be more scary is that he had already entered the house and didn't even see the girls and then came back out of the house. See, we don't know. Mr. Gonzalez believes that he had been in the house the day before. I'd like to know why he has made that conclusion. What does Mr. Gonzalez know to lead him to believe Brian Korberger was in that house a day before? Because you have to ask yourself, why was Brian riding around for an hour before entering that house? Because if the kids were gone, that would lead you to believe that he knew they were gone, even though there were cars in the driveway. And I won't doubt that he knew what the kids drove. And he also would have known if Ethan drove, that Ethan had his own separate car. Wouldn't you be questioning that? But he obviously didn't care. And that's what's so interesting about this story is that there were at least 5 cars in the driveway and he still made entry into this house to kill these kids without a thought of getting caught. Not even thinking that somebody had a German Shepherd or a pit bull in there. Not thinking that one of the girls may have had people visiting, a parent visiting, another roommate, new roommate, friends over, spending the night. That's what's so baffling about this case. He didn't even think that there would be a vicious dog or other people in the house visiting these kids. So maybe he had already been in that house that morning. Imagine that. Imagine Korberger parked his car somewhere, I don't know where, made way into the house, and didn't find anybody in the rooms. Oh my goodness. Imagine he stayed in the house and waited for them to come back in. Because if he came in and wasn't invited, there was no breaking and entering. Please stay with me now. Who's to say Korberger wasn't already in the house when the kids got there? I'll be damned. I haven't even thought of that myself. One second, everybody. Oops. Trying to check everything, make sure my connection's okay. Oh, because I'm commenting on a computer. Somebody said I did. Okay. What if Korberger was already in the house? What if Korberger had been to the house, as Mr. Gonzalez said, and been inside of the house either the day before or at some other time to survey the house and learn the layout, decide which person lived where? Did Brian Korberger lie in wait inside or outside of the house? Number 1. Where did he park his car to get away? The property next door to the right, which is where the apartment building is, did he park his car up there and just shimmy down that hill and just sat in the dark waiting for them to return? Or parked up there and went straight on in, didn't find the girls, so he hid somewhere and waited till they returned. Is it possible that he was already in the house in a closet? Under a bed? How high did the bed sit up from the floor? So you have to ask all those questions because we do not know. We have to wait on CCTV footage, the doorbell camera from the neighbors. That's who's going to give us the most evidence in this case. Is the house that sits to the left of the property, they have a doorbell camera that heard whimpering. So common sense would tell you if you have audio, you would possibly also have video of a human walking by. And I do believe there's a video I found from News Nation that I didn't remember seeing. It said somebody was moving around, I believe, outside the property on that fateful morning. So what's this Kohrberger? And like I said, if whimpering is heard on that doorbell camera, that means they probably have a visual of Brian Kohrberger entering into the driveway and walking around that house and entering through the back glass door, if that is the entry that he took. And naturally, people will leave out the way that they came. So number one, was the first front door locked? Side door, glass door, had to be unlocked because how did he get in if he didn't crawl through a window? We also saw a screen around that same side of the house on the ground. How long had that screen been on the ground? We heard that one of the girls had a problem with the locks to her bedroom door. Had somebody been jimmying the door, trying to get in the room, or it just was messed up? We heard one of the fathers went over there to fix on the door. What is the time frame of that door incident? Did the girls have anything missing in the months from late summer up until their deaths? Did he take souvenirs from the house? I do believe he did. He would want a memento, plural, from his devious deeds. Did Brian Kohrberger have a co-conspirator, plural? Did he have help? Did he write about it in a journal? Did he confess on social media under an assumed name, alias, but did not mention Idaho 4? How long did he plan this crime? What else has he done besides the 4 murders? Any peeping Tom situations, scenarios? How did he find the girls? I told you before in my commentary over a year ago that I would not doubt that Kohrberger had found these girls on social media, but was not living in Washington State. We got information at the first of this year from News Nation that there is information that he could have been stalking the girls a year before. And a year before 22, he would have been in the state of Pennsylvania. So how could he be stalking them and not living in Idaho or Washington? Did he originally find his target or targets online before moving to Washington? I got a feeling he did. And I also believe that he possibly found the girls on IG, stalked them, and applied to school close to Moscow, got accepted, moved to Washington State, started driving over to stalk his prey, and then made his move. That is my theory. For the remaining roommates, what are they doing now? Did they ever go back to school? Did they ever take online classes? What are their plans? What will they tell 12 members of a jury pertaining to that fateful morning? Will they admit to the truth of what they saw and heard? And why did they call an outsider? Please make me understand, because I cannot. There's no way in hell I'm calling my friend or associates and I just saw something nefarious in my house. I'm not getting ready to do that. And I understand that people react differently, but you can't explain finding a whole body dead, butchered up, and then you decide, I think I'm gonna go call Pookie. For what reason are you gonna call your fucking friends? So now we have to decide, what did they see? Who did they see? And why are they calling outsiders instead of 911? Make me understand. Because that is the gist of this story. One of them called somebody else, and that somebody else called to report that they had fell out. And so medics or police came to the scene under the guise of someone passed out, not butchered individuals. And that does not sit well with me. And you can judge me however you want. I do not care. There is no way in hell I am getting ready to walk through a house and see blood or see a human and then go call somebody else and not 911. You have all the time in the world to call all your fucking friends to tell them what the fuck you saw in there. You should be calling 911, because did it not occur to these dizzy ass girls that the killer was still in the damn house? I mean, Kohlberger did come back. And I think the only reason why Kohlberger did not enter the house is because he knew it was daylight savings time and he could be seen on a doorbell camera, house camera. He had to think, oh hell, I can't get out of this car. Somebody might see me coming in, going out. I get caught. That's why Kohlberger never went back in. And I do believe he went back to get the sheath. He realized once he got home or on his drive home, damn, I left the damn knife sheath. So he waited, but it made no sense to drive back at daylight. So I'm wondering if he didn't realize that he left the sheath until it was daylight, because he probably was all riled up, nervous, anxious, trying to get rid of evidence, clothes, this and that, shoes. And maybe he stayed up until 9-something, 8-something, and then it dawned on him, oh, fuck, I left that damn knife sheath. And it so happened, it was right in the bed beside the girls. 2 girls on the top floor, Maddie and Kaylee. It's creepy as hell knowing the knife sheath was by, I believe it was Maddie, if I'm not mistaken. So that proves the knife was in a case. He pulled the sheath off of the knife, sat it down, and started stabbing the girls. Not rocket science. Then he decides, let me go downstairs. Maybe he was intending to leave, but he couldn't because maybe somebody was already in the kitchen. Somebody came out to see what the noise was. Now I've got to kill this person. See, I don't know, because I don't know how it was laid out. But I believe one of the other ones was in the doorway, Xana's room. And I believe Xana was trapped in her room, couldn't get out. Was that Xana whimpering on the doorbell audio? Well, that was her room that sits 50 feet or so from that doorbell camera. Her room is the closest to that house. It's very scary information. You see, we know that we have demons out here who don't mind getting you gone. And they will kill you outside the house, you know, carjacking, assault. But the worst is the person who would veer into your home, because your home is your safe haven. That when all else fails, you should feel safe in your house. When things aren't right at work, school, you should feel safe to be in your house. You should feel comfortable in your house. But unfortunately, these kids were not. And I'm sure this house had a lot of foot traffic over the years with different people living in the house, entertaining. And I have always said about an open house, it is a recipe for disaster. Even if Korberger never crossed the paths of these girls, never found these girls, never stalked these girls, never killed these girls and their friend Ethan, they were asking for trouble having all these people running in and out of their house. Because number one, they've had numerous complaints against them by their neighbors. So you were already building up bad blood with just the people who live by you. And that's not good. And we have seen what happens when people get upset and irritated with their neighbors. As I saw a story here in New York City, a man and his son are now dead because the downstairs neighbor went upstairs and he shot them because of the noise. And the mother is crying on TV saying nobody was making noise. But that's the point of the story. What you hear inside your apartment is not the same as what I would hear on the first level or under you. And people don't understand that about apartment living. That maybe you're not intentionally trying to disturb people, but noise echoes. And when you're living in older units, the noise ricochets. And then you're talking about poor insulation. It can be daunting to continuously listen to people walk back and forth, run back and forth, talking loud, loud music, traffic. And I know because I'm on a first level, and trust me, every day, I have to keep my composure because it gets old. It gets very old. When I watch footage of the police going to the house of a noise complaint, Kaylee was the one talking to the officer. In some degrees, I felt like she was oblivious to why the officer was there. And I'm not trying to talk ill of the dead, but she seemed kind of nonchalant, like, okay, put that out into the universe. You could put the negativity into the universe. And in no means do I mean they know what happened to them. But what I'm saying is, you can summon the devil by how you respond and how you navigate. And if you lived in a house where you kept numerous people coming and going, you are summoning trouble. You don't lock your doors. You don't lock your windows. You're having different entities come in and out of the house that you do not know. That is not a good idea. Because there's always going to be somebody that has a problem with you. And this is the thing that people don't understand about having roommates. It could have easily gone down that somebody had a problem with somebody and the person came there looking for that somebody and you just so happen to be there because you live there. Now you're fighting for your life on some shit that somebody else did that lives in your house. That house was a bad setup. It was an ugly house. It was unattractive. It was too much going on, too much foot traffic, too many complaints against the kids. And you could see that from when the guys answered the door and said the girls weren't there. I think we already know the girls were there. The boys lied. And the police knew they were lying. Because the first thing the cop is going to say, well, why would they leave you here and they took off to go to another house or another party? For what? You got valuables in the house. You got your belongings in the house. Who would just leave random people in their house to go to another party? I say this to people, especially young people. You have got to think. Because this is how you get yourself caught up in bad situations. You have got to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of the place you're sleeping in, that it's safe, that it's secure. You have to be careful what you're posting to social media. You cannot be advertising where you work, where you live, the area where you live. You can't put your government name on social media accounts. How long do you think it would take for somebody to find you just from posting certain things on an IG or Facebook account? You can't tell people things. Oh, hi, I live in Moscow. I work at such and such. I'm a student at such and such. And then you're showing your house and the way it looks. You can see the house from different angles of the neighborhood. News Nation showed you that last winter. Where the lady stands with the flashlight and Mr. Enton is farther down the trail and she flashes the light to show you the house, how far the house was into a proximity to where he was standing. You could see that house from different places. So anybody could have been a stalker. Anybody could have wanted harm to come to these kids. And if you're not locking the door, you're asking for trouble anyway, whether you are a college student or not. You cannot leave your doors unlocked. Anybody could have walked in that house and assaulted these kids. And I always thought, in the beginning, of course, that it was possibly a neighbor or somebody that partied with the kids and gotten their feelings about one of the girls. But then we find out it's a guy who lived 15 minutes away in a neighboring state. He wasn't friends with them. He didn't hang with them. He didn't hang with any of their friends and associates, allegedly. Just some random guy following these kids on social media and became attached and detached from reality and put a plan into motion. You don't know people. That's my point. And I do not know who the target was. I do not know if he had more than one target, if he was angry with just the one female, who it was. But the point is he killed 4 kids. That's the point. And he made his way into this house and he didn't care about breaking and entering, and he had no problems with murdering them. And that says a lot about who Brian C. Korberger is, if you do believe he is the suspect and the perpetrator. He has no remorse. He has no feelings. He is numb. He is empty. And 9 times out of 10, he has felt this way for a very long time. He was a killer in the making. Whether you believe he was born this way or groomed to become one or pushed to become one, he is one now. But I do find it strange that these young girls were talking to other entities besides a 911 dispatcher. Why? Why did you not take off running from this house? Why didn't you jump in a car and drive down the street? Why would you call somebody else and you found something nefarious in this house? So I'm going to ask you, what did you find when you got up? Who was the first one to find something or someone not alive? What did you do then? Run, go get the other girl, call the other girl. She comes up to look and inspect. Did you then go from room to room? So imagine telling this to 12 members of a jury. We got up this morning at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. We found this one, that one. We went and searched all these people and found them dead, and then we called our fucking friends. Please tell me you're not going to tell 12 members of a jury, because they're going to be family members and other people listening. And that is not going to sit well with them, that you got up, found the kids dead, or found one dead, 2 dead, and then you went and called your damn friends. And then you were so excited and disgusted and whatever, you passed out, and the other person, a guy, calls 911 to say you're passed out, but there's no mention of the dead people. Does that even sound right to you? Because me repeating it, it sounds outrageous. Oh, hey, yeah, by the way, my friend, she just passed out. But he ain't telling the dispatcher why you passed out. Oh, yeah, by the way, she passed out because she just found one of her friends dead or some dead friends in the house. This is ridiculous. Because I'm trying to figure out how is this going to be souped up when court comes. What version are these two girls going to give about that morning? Because I'm telling you, it is not going to sit well if you spin that version to the court. You call somebody else instead of calling the damn police. Hey, we need an ambulance. I didn't check them. I didn't do CPR. They were too bloody, but I don't think they're alive. Instead, you call another college kid. So then we have to ask that question. If you call a college kid first, what did you tell him exactly? I'll wait. Hey, come over here. I think there's something wrong with the girls. I'm scared to go through the house, or I did see them dead. Can you come over? And then he goes to call somebody, and then he gets to your house, and then you pass out, and then he finally decides to call 911. But don't think to call 911 about the dead people or a dead person or seeing blood spatter. See, I'm trying to figure out how it all went. Because this is going to be interesting that you can give us a weird, caked up version, and it ain't what you told LE or what you wrote down on your initial report. You and your friend. I can't remember her name. That's just about how I get down lately. I can't even remember people's names. And the fact that you took a run once you left the university and went home, Dylan, that kind of struck a lot of people strange. You're out running in shorts in the cold in the dead of winter. Most people would think you'd be too afraid to come outside. But some think you knew that reporters were outside and you wanted to give them a show because you felt safe in your neighborhood. You felt safe at your parents' house. But I think you knew those people were outside, and what that tells me is there's something wrong with you. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Because I wouldn't have came outside, period. Running shorts or no running shorts. And the fact that you thought you were safe, well, you should have known from what happened in Moscow that nowhere is safe. Because for a news entity to be outside your house and photograph you running, what does that tell you? That they found out where your parents lived. And they went there to see if that's where you went. And that is where you went. So how in the world could you feel safe at your parents' house and somebody's taking a photograph of you running? So if a news entity could go there, stalk your place, find you, take a picture of you coming outside, what made you think a stranger such as Koiberger couldn't have found your parents' address and did the same, or God forbid, worse? So you weren't using your head again. And then when I think back to that incident, it leads me to wonder what type of person you really are. Because at some point, there's got to be some accountability in this story. And I'm not here to say that you and that girl had anything to do with the murders, that you knew Koiberger, but your behavior is odd to me. Because you found something in that house that led you to call that guy friend. And all of that's hush-hush. Then you leave the school and just so happen to come out to take a run in shorts in the dead of winter, which makes no sense to me either. So then I have to ask myself, did you take runs in shorts at the King Roadhouse? Stay woke, everybody. Did you get up in the morning and afternoon and jog over there in Moscow? Or was this all for show because you knew people had been talking about your social media and you wanted to play mind games? I don't know. Well, we don't hear much from you or the other girl. You two have laid low. But if a fly could talk, if those walls could talk, what would they tell us about that fateful morning? Would they tell us that you heard everything that morning? That you knew something had not gone right in that house? Would the walls and the fly also tell us you got up after Corberger left and found those kids dead and went back to your room or to your other friend's room, or hell, maybe even left the property altogether? I bet you all never thought about that, did you? Because at one point, it was said that the first roommate on the first floor may not have even been home during the times of the murder, during the time of the murders. I don't know if that's true or not. But I can't imagine rummaging through the house and finding dead people and then going back into my room and say nothing to law enforcement. No 911 call, no nothing. And I know you could have been stupid enough to call somebody then to say, oh yeah, they're dead in here. And then that person holds the secret and they don't call 911. Because somebody said, well, Angela, that's kind of cold to think she would have gotten up and seen the kids dead and go back to bed. Well, we've heard all types of things that go bump in the night when it comes to dead people. And that people hold the secrets of dead people and they never call 911 and they never talk to anybody about what they heard, what they saw, what somebody told them about killing somebody. So why would this be any different? I'm just saying, because I'm going by what the chief told us in a press conference, that you all did call somebody, and that somebody called 911 to only say that one of you all passed out. Not that there was a dead body, blood spatter, an odd smell. And as I told the chat the other day, blood smells. Dylan, second roommate, blood smells like iron. So by the time you all got 911 on the call, those kids had been dead for many hours. So blood should have been permeating in that 3-level house. The thickness of the air had to have been atrocious. And 9 times out of 10, you would have smelled blood even with your door closed because you're in the same house. And I doubt that the house was well insulated. Did you girls get up through the night, through that late morning rather, and discover your friend's deceased, but did not dial 911? Number 2, did you call somebody else in the night, late morning, and they held the secret? Number 3, what time did you get up that morning? Number 4, why did you call an outsider instead of calling 911? And number 5, how do you feel now with everything that has transpired? Your friends are gone. There's been a lot of rhetoric, assumptions, rumors, daggers thrown. The house has been torn down, and you two are the only ones alive to give us a glimpse into what possibly happened that fateful morning. Will you be truthful and honest about what you saw and what you heard from that morning? And lastly, and I don't know if you can answer this, but why would this man kill 4 people and leave you 2? And saw one of you while walking through the hallway. No one can tell me that is not a strange phenomenon. This man has butchered 4 people. He's allegedly tired. He's got tunnel vision, and he leaves 2 alive. Yet he's been stalking 1 or more of the girls for at least a couple of months or longer. But he doesn't kill the other 2. Why not? Because as we have learned, a dead man tells no tales. So why would I leave a witness? Times 2. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is a 2-part live pertaining to the disappearance of Summer Wells. The search is exacted for her. Is there a reason that the rescue squad searched certain areas in Beach Creek? Is it because they had information from law enforcement that the child was possibly discarded in those areas? Did they search other areas from Tennessee, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee? Why back there? Do any type of phone data put the Wells back in those search areas? Why has there been no arrest? Why have the searches been called off? Stay woke. When you listen to the commentary of this live stream, you will hear within 2 weeks, they scale back the search. Why? 5 months later, they go back out. But you do not hear that they went to Kingsport, Jonesboro, Greenville, any other jurisdiction in East Tennessee. Why not? Then we cross to the Pacific Northwest, to Idaho, where 4 children were brutally slain last winter. A suspect was apprehended and arrested. He's played mind games with the courts and left 2 roommates behind. Why? Why did these women not call 911 originally? How many people did they call before a 911 call went into the dispatch? And the sick part of the story, it wasn't for the dead kids. It was because one of them passed out. Make us understand how this came to be. Why didn't these people run out, run down the street, run around the corner, jump in their car, drive off the property? Did the calls come from inside of the house or outside of the house? And why did they not dial 911 to say they saw, smelled something off in that house that morning? What time did they get up? What time did they notice nefarious business in that house? Blood spatter, bloody shoe prints, a body, 2 bodies, 4 bodies. Will we find out later they did get up and knew that the kids were dead, but never dialed 911? That will be a jaw-dropping moment in court if that is ever revealed. And how will you ever be able to live with yourself after telling the court this? Where are the 2 roommates? How do they feel about what has happened to their friends? Will they ever speak publicly about what happened and what they saw that fateful morning? And will 12 members of the jury find Brian C. Kornberger guilty of all 4 murders and give him the death penalty? His trial is projected for summer 2024. Had everything went to plan, the trial would possibly be over now. Had it started in October, but it did not. This man has used every scheme he could come up with, he and his attorney, Miss Annie. And it shows you how sick she is as well as her client. Because there's been no respect for the dead, no respect for the children, the students, the family members, and the community. Some of us believe the house should have stayed up just in case a jury member wanted to go inside of the home, whether there's things in there or not. I still believe the house should have stayed, but I get it. It's an eyesore, and naturally, the school wanted to move on. And I honestly believe that the school tore the house down because they realized Korberger was not going to trial as anticipated. So they felt like, what's the purpose of leaving this house up? And he may be going to court the summer of 24. No need of leaving this house up for children to be coming through here, looking around, coming to the campus to see if they want to go to the school. See, it's bad business for the students because the university works off of monies. And it's a bad look. They need that money. And the worst thing they can have is the house still standing while people are driving around trying to decide if they want to go to that school or not. I do believe that's why they tore it down. It's because Korberger still has not gone to trial. And I pray that when the summer arrives, that there will not be another stallment and it's put off again. That's my commentary, everybody. If you'd like to donate to the Square Network, $DIDNT129 Cash App tickets. The chats are always welcome during a live stream. Happy weekend, everybody. My movie suggestion is Cold Comes the Night, playing free on Pluto. Please check your Pluto app if you'd like to watch this movie. I have it posted to my community board. It is a couple of years old, but it is my movie suggestion for the weekend. Happy New Year to everybody in the viewing audience. I will possibly come back before the new year to bring you more commentary this weekend. Please stay safe, stay warm. God bless all of you. And as I said, always be aware of your surroundings. Double check your house, windows, doors, locks. Make sure they are not accessible. And as they say, if you want to see if you can get into your house, try getting in from the outside. Because if you can make a way into your house from the outside, that means that somebody else can do the same. Be aware of your surroundings, where you travel, what you post. Just stay in the know, everybody. Please stay safe out there. God bless all of you. You have been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you all so much for joining me in the chat. God bless all of you. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later.